Welcome back to Creating a Universe, where we're discussing the various elements that go into creating a believable and immersive world for your story. Today, we're going to be talking about currency and how everyone, even less advanced societies, use it in some form. Currency refers more generally to a systematic form of money rather than the trade of basic goods, but for now we'll be referring to them both in the same context. Now that we've covered the other topics relevant to creating your universe, you should have a good idea of the time period, level of technology, and the overall theme and aesthetic of your world. Taking all of this into account, what forms of currency do the different cultures in your world use? Do they still trade with basic goods and services, or has an organized form of currency been established? Keep in mind that the form of currency will vary between different nations and societies. For example, in America, we use the US dollar, whereas most of Europe uses the euro. In medieval England, their currency was split between pennies or pence, which is what most commoners were paid in their jobs and what most people used in their day-to-day purchases. Shillings, which was equal to 12 pence, and pounds, which was equal to 20 shillings or a pound of silver. If currency plays a large role in your story and your audience will hear of it often, then it's important that you have a good understanding of your systems of money. Don't be afraid to research existing kinds of currency to draw inspiration from or to use altogether. For example, in my book, it's in a fantasy setting, yet they use the medieval English form of money because it makes sense in the setting. Most people carry around pence, some of the more well-off people carry around shillings, and the pound originally referred to something that cost a pound of silver, so they made a coin that represented that so people wouldn't have to carry around pounds worth of pence on them. Simple enough. Remember, it doesn't have to be overly complex, but if you are able to create your own unique form of currency, then that will only add to the realism and even add lore to your world. Another key aspect of creating currency is to consider how it affects the different cultures. Think about how different types of currency would shape the way people live and interact with each other. Are there banks, for example, where people exchange currency when traveling between different cities? For example, in a fantasy world, different nations might have different forms of currency, such as gold or silver coins, or even some type of magical crystal. Or in a science fiction story, different cultures might have different forms of digital currency. One example of this is in the movie In Time, where people are paid in and spend years of their life as money. As you can imagine, that would make something like gambling much more thrilling and much more risky. It's also important to consider how currency might be used in your story. Does it play a large or a small role, and how does that affect the overall story and your characters? For example, maybe there's a point where your characters need to buy a ferry to cross a river, but they're out of money. Do they do a quick side job to get what they need? Do they sneak onto the boat? Do they appeal to the captain's good nature, or do they simply find another way? This can add depth and complexity to your world, while at the same time providing you with opportunities for conflict and character growth within your scenes. And that's going to be it for this episode of Creating a Universe. Remember, it doesn't have to be rocket science, but if your world is expansive and there's many stories to be told within it, then it would only benefit at having in-depth forms of trade and money. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. We're getting pretty close to the end of the series here, and I'm going to be answering as many as I can in a separate video. Until then, remember that there are such things as stupid questions, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be answered. If you found this helpful, give the video a like and consider subscribing. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.